Some trucks are built for work, some are built for strength, but a few are built like nothing the world actually needs. Over time, engineers didn't just improve trucks, they kept pushing them further and further until logic stopped making sense. Massive frames, military-grade durability, and engines designed for machines twice their size became normal in some cases, creating trucks so powerful they were never meant to be owned by normal people. From early heavy-duty legends to modern over-engineered monsters, this is the story of the most overbuilt trucks ever created. And as we move forward, each one will show just how far engineering can go when there are no limits left to follow. Number 10. Chevrolet K30. The Chevrolet K30 came from a time when trucks were engineered with one brutal priority: durability under real punishment. Under its long hood sat engines like the 5.7-liter V8, and from 1982 onward, the 6.2-liter Detroit diesel Phi-8, later joined by the 6.5-liter diesel, designed more for torque and endurance than speed or refinement. These engines were not high-revving or advanced, but they were built with heavy internal components, thick cylinder walls, and low-stress tuning that allowed them to survive constant heavy loads. The K30's frame was a heavy-duty ladder design, meaning it could absorb extreme twisting forces from off-road use, towing, and overloading without structural failure. In real-world conditions, especially in rural America and farm industries, these trucks were often loaded far beyond factory ratings, yet continued operating without catastrophic breakdowns. That is where its reputation for being overbuilt truly began, not in marketing, but in survival under abuse most vehicles would never withstand. The K30 wasn't just theoretical in its strength, it proved itself in agriculture, oil fields, and construction zones where failure was not acceptable. Farmers routinely used it to haul heavy equipment, livestock trailers, and construction materials across unpaved terrain, often in extreme weather conditions. One of the most notable real-world traits of the K30 was its ability to keep running, even when overloaded far beyond its official towing limits. In many regions, especially in North America, during the 1970s and 1980s, these trucks became unofficial industrial workhorses because they could survive punishment that would destroy newer, lighter-duty pickups. Even today, restored K30s are still used in rural areas where reliability matters more than comfort or technology. What makes the K30 stand out in modern discussions is its mechanical simplicity combined with overbuilt engineering. There are no fragile electronic systems, no overly complex sensors, and no unnecessary luxury components that could fail under stress. Instead, everything is mechanical, heavy-duty, and repairable in the field. This is why many K30s are still operational decades after production ended. In some cases, they have been used in wildfire response, rural rescue operations, and off-road recovery situations where newer trucks failed due to electronic or thermal issues. The K30 didn't just survive its era, it outlived it because it was built with margins of strength far beyond what was required. Number 9. Ford F250. Highboy. The Ford F250 Highboy was built during a time when trucks were expected to be raw, durable machines rather than refined daily drivers. Factory engine options included inline-six variants, the 240 and 300 cubic inch and the 360 cubic inch V8 as the primary V8 option across most of its production run, with the 351M and 400 V8 arriving in the final 1977 model year. The 390 V8, though sometimes assumed to have been available, was never a factory option in the Highboy 4x4 configuration. These engines were not designed for efficiency or emissions compliance. They were designed for torque delivery and long-term mechanical survival under load. The Highboy's drivetrain included a divorced transfer case and solid front and rear axles, which allowed it to handle extreme stress without relying on fragile components. Its factory high stance was not cosmetic, it was functional, a direct result of the divorced transfer case requiring a longer front drive shaft and greater clearance, improving ground clearance for off-road work and heavy terrain usage. The Highboy became extremely popular in logging operations, rural towing, and agricultural environments where trucks were pushed beyond normal operational limits every single day. In many cases, these trucks were used to pull heavy timber loads through muddy, uneven terrain, where traction and torque mattered more than speed. There are documented cases where Highboys continued operating, even after decades of constant overloading and minimal maintenance, which is a direct result of their overbuilt drivetrain architecture. Unlike modern trucks that rely heavily on electronics, the Highboy could often be repaired with basic tools in the field, allowing it to stay operational in remote environments where service support was non-existent. The reason the Highboy still holds legendary status today is because of how it behaves under stress. Even when pushed beyond factory specifications, it rarely suffers catastrophic failure. Instead, it tends to wear down slowly, giving clear mechanical warning signs before breaking. This is a trait that modern trucks often lack due to complex electronic systems. Enthusiasts still restore and modify Highboys, not just for nostalgia, but because they represent a level of mechanical honesty that is extremely rare today. In essence, it is a truck that was never designed to be replaced quickly. It was designed to endure decades of abuse. Number 8. Pinzgauer 710M. The Pinzgauer 710M was designed for military operations in environments where infrastructure does not exist. Its engine, a 2.5-liter air-cooled inline-4 gasoline engine producing approximately 87 horsepower, may seem modest compared to modern trucks, but it was engineered for extreme reliability and low maintenance in harsh conditions. Because it runs on gasoline and is air-cooled, there is no radiator to freeze or rupture during deep water crossings or extreme cold, a deliberate engineering choice for field survival. Paired with a fully synchronized 5-speed drivetrain and portal axle system, the vehicle delivers exceptional ground clearance and mobility. Unlike conventional trucks that rely on raw horsepower, the Pinzgauer relies on torque distribution, mechanical efficiency, and a lightweight chassis design that allows it to traverse terrain that would immobilize heavier vehicles. Every component was chosen for durability rather than comfort or speed. The Pinzgauer was actively used by several military forces, including the Austrian, British, and Swiss armies and expedition teams across rugged environments, including mountainous regions, deserts, and dense forest terrain. Its ability to carry troops, equipment, and supplies through terrain without roads made it invaluable in tactical operations. In real-world deployments, it proved capable of continuing movement even after partial system damage, thanks to its redundant mechanical design. Expedition teams have also used it in remote regions where standard vehicles fail, such as Arctic zones and high-altitude environments. Its consistent performance in extreme conditions is what built its reputation as one of the most reliable overland military trucks ever created. Despite its relatively compact dimensions, the Pinzgauer contains engineering features typically found in much larger military vehicles. Its chassis is designed to flex under stress instead of resisting it, reducing structural fatigue. The portal axle system alone gives it clearance levels that rival much larger off-road trucks. This combination of compact size and extreme capability creates an unusual engineering paradox. It feels small, but performs like a much larger machine. That is what makes it truly overbuilt. It achieves extreme performance without scaling up in size or complexity unnecessarily. Number 7. Toyota Mega Cruiser. The Toyota Mega Cruiser was developed primarily for military and heavy-duty rescue operations, and everything about it reflects that purpose. Under the hood sits a 4.1-liter 15 BFT turbocharged diesel engine, producing 153 horsepower and 382 newton meters of torque at 1,800 revolutions per minute. On paper, those numbers don't sound extreme, but the real strength of this engine is not power, it's reliability under stress. It was designed to operate in low-speed, high-load conditions where overheating, mechanical strain, and constant torque demand would destroy conventional engines. The drivetrain was paired with a full-time four-wheel drive system, portal axles, and wheel hub reduction gearing, which dramatically increased torque at the wheels while reducing stress on internal components. This is what makes the Mega Cruiser fundamentally overbuilt. Every mechanical system is designed to survive conditions far beyond normal civilian use, including steep inclines, deep mud, and unstable terrain where traction constantly changes. The Mega Cruiser was primarily used by Japanese self-defense forces in roles such as troop transport, reconnaissance, and disaster response. One of its most important real-world uses came during natural disaster operations in Japan, where roads were destroyed by earthquakes and landslides. In those situations, the Mega Cruiser proved capable of transporting personnel and equipment through terrain where even commercial rescue trucks could not operate. Its extremely high ground clearance and independent suspension system allowed it to move through flooded zones and debris fields without losing mobility. Unlike civilian trucks that require maintenance intervals and controlled conditions, the Mega Cruiser was built to be deployed immediately in unpredictable environments. Its reliability in these real-world disaster scenarios cemented its reputation as one of the most overbuilt military utility vehicles ever created. What makes the Mega Cruiser fascinating is not just its capability, but how much engineering is packed into a relatively compact platform. It uses portal axles similar to those found in heavy military vehicles, giving it massive ground clearance without requiring an oversized body. The chassis is designed to withstand twisting forces without structural damage, and the independent suspension system allows each wheel to move independently, keeping all four wheels in contact with uneven surfaces. Even the steering system is engineered for precision in extreme terrain, rather than comfort comfort or speed. This combination creates a vehicle that feels far more capable than its size suggests. It doesn't rely on brute force. It relies on intelligent over-engineering, making it one of the most advanced military utility trucks ever built. Number 6. GMC Topkick. The GMC Topkick was never intended to compete with consumer pickups. It was built as a medium-duty commercial truck designed for industrial workloads. Depending on configuration, it could be equipped with powerful diesel engines, such as the Caterpillar 3126 or Duramax-based variants in later versions, producing massive torque figures well over 600 Newton meters and beyond. These engines were designed for continuous heavy load operation, meaning they could sustain high torque output for long periods without overheating or mechanical fatigue. The frame was a fully reinforced ladder structure designed to support cargo weights far exceeding normal pickup capacity. In essence, the Topkick was not a truck in the traditional sense, it was industrial machinery adapted for road use, which is exactly why it feels overbuilt compared to consumer vehicles. The Topkick found its real strength in industries where failure was not an option: construction, utility repair, and municipal operations. It was commonly used as a platform for dump trucks, fire service vehicles, and utility carriers. In real-world scenarios, especially during disaster recovery and infrastructure repair, Topkicks were used to transport heavy equipment and materials into damaged urban areas, where lighter trucks would fail structurally. Its ability to maintain performance under constant heavy loads made it a preferred choice for fleets that required maximum uptime and durability. Even in harsh weather conditions and extended operational cycles, the Topkick demonstrated a level of mechanical endurance that exceeded expectations for a road-legal vehicle. What separates the Topkick from conventional trucks is its identity. It does not behave like a consumer vehicle. It behaves like industrial equipment. The steering is heavier, the chassis is stiffer, and the entire driving experience feels closer to operating machinery than driving a pickup. This is intentional engineering because the truck was never designed for comfort or personal use. It was designed to carry extreme loads consistently over long distances without structural fatigue. That is why it feels overbuilt, because it was engineered with commercial grade tolerance levels that far exceed everyday requirements. Number 5. Ford F650. The Ford F650 represents the point where pickup trucks stop being personal vehicles and start becoming industrial platforms. Modern versions are powered by Ford's own 6.7-liter Power Stroke turbocharged diesel V8, producing enormous torque, often exceeding 800 Newton meters, depending on configuration. Earlier generations used a Cummins diesel. These engines are designed for sustained load pulling, rather than acceleration or speed, meaning they operate efficiently under constant stress, without performance degradation. The chassis is built on a medium-duty commercial truck frame, significantly stronger than any standard pickup platform. This structural foundation is what makes the F650 fundamentally overbuilt. It is designed to carry, tow, and operate at levels far beyond consumer requirements. The F650 is widely used in industries that require extreme capability, including heavy towing, recovery operations, and custom industrial applications. It is commonly seen in tow truck conversions capable of recovering large commercial vehicles, buses, and construction equipment. In real-world use, it has been deployed in accident recovery and disaster zones where smaller vehicles cannot handle the load or terrain. Fleet operators value it because it rarely reaches its operational limit. In normal use, it is always working below maximum capacity, which dramatically increases its lifespan and reliability. This constant understressing of its components is a key reason why it is considered overbuilt in practical terms. Even compared to other heavy-duty pickups, the F650 feels excessive. Its size alone makes it impractical for most personal users, and its driving characteristics reflect its industrial roots. The braking systems, suspension components, and steering geometry are all designed for load stability rather than comfort or responsiveness. This creates a driving experience that feels more like operating a commercial truck than a personal vehicle. It is overbuilt not because it is unnecessarily powerful, but because its entire architecture is scaled far beyond. Number 4, Mercedes-Benz Unimog. The Mercedes-Benz Unimog is not a truck in the normal sense. It is a purpose-built engineering platform designed for extreme versatility and survival in conditions where conventional vehicles fail instantly. Depending on the variant, it has been equipped with diesel engines such as the OM series inline 4 and inline 6 units, tuned not for speed, but for torque delivery at extremely low RPMs. These engines are paired with portal axles, which raise the differential above the wheel centerline, giving the Unimog extreme ground clearance that allows it to traverse rocks, deep ruts, and flooded terrain. The drivetrain is designed with multiple locking differentials and extremely flexible suspension geometry, allowing each wheel to move independently under load. What makes it overbuilt is not just strength, it is adaptability engineered into every mechanical layer. The Unimog has been used globally in military logistics, disaster relief, forestry, operations, and expedition rescue missions. In real-world disaster scenarios such as floods and earthquakes in Europe, Unimogs have been deployed to reach isolated communities where roads no longer exist. Fire departments in mountainous regions rely on them because they can carry heavy water tanks and equipment across terrain that standard fire trucks cannot access. In military use, they serve as supply carriers and mobile support platforms in extreme environments. One of the key reasons it performs so well in real operations is its ability to continue functioning even under partial mechanical stress. If one system is damaged, others can compensate, allowing the vehicle to stay operational when most trucks would be disabled. What makes the Unimog truly overbuilt is the philosophy behind it. It was never designed for comfort, speed, or aesthetics. It was designed for function in the harshest environments on Earth. The chassis is highly flexible, almost to the point where it appears unstable, but this flexibility is intentional because it prevents structural failure under extreme torsion. Every component, from axles to drivetrain, is oversized relative to typical road use requirements. This creates a machine that feels almost too capable for its size, as if it belongs in a category above conventional truck. Number 3, Hummer H1. The Hummer H1 originated from military requirements for a highly mobile, all-terrain tactical vehicle. It was originally developed as the Humvee platform, designed to transport troops and equipment across hostile environments, including deserts, mud fields, and rocky terrain. Under its massive body sits a range of diesel engines used across its production life. The 6.2-liter naturally aspirated diesel V8 in early models, the 6.5-liter turbo diesel V8 from 1994 onward, and the 6.6-liter Duramax V8 in the final Alpha editions produced from 2005 to 2006. These engines were paired with a central tire inflation system and full-time 4WD, allowing real-time adaptation to terrain conditions. The Elchon's structure is heavily reinforced, with a wide stance and extremely high ground clearance, making it one of the closest civilian-adapted vehicles to true military engineering. In military operations, the Humvee platform proved itself in conflicts and field operations where mobility was critical. It was used for troop transport, reconnaissance, and supply movement across extremely harsh terrain conditions. Its ability to continue moving even after sustaining damage made it invaluable in combat environments. In civilian adaptation, the H1 retained most of its original engineering, which is why it feels so extreme on public roads. It has also been used in expedition travel and extreme off-road challenges where standard SUVs fail completely. Its real-world reputation is built on durability under unpredictable and high-stress environments. Driving the Hun feels like operating military hardware because, in many ways, that is exactly what it is. The steering is heavy, the chassis is wide and rigid, and the suspension is designed for durability rather than comfort. Because it was never softened for civilian expectations, it carried its military DNA directly into public use, creating a machine that feels excessive in every direction. Number 2, International XT. The International XT sits in a strange category between commercial trucking and consumer pickup design. It was based on medium-duty truck platforms originally intended for industrial hauling and fleet operations. Depending on configuration, it could be equipped with heavy-duty diesel engines capable of producing extremely high torque outputs, designed for sustained load pulling rather than acceleration. The frame and chassis are far beyond standard pickup construction, built to handle commercial-grade payloads continuously without structural fatigue. This alone places it in the overbuilt category because it was never designed for casual driving or lifestyle use. The International XT found its role in specialty industries such as heavy towing, utility services, and armored or customized conversions. In real-world fleet operations, it was used where standard pickups were not capable of handling equipment weight or towing demands. It also became popular in modified civilian builds, including armored vehicles and luxury conversions, where its massive structure allowed extreme customization. In disaster response and recovery scenarios, XTs were occasionally used to move heavy debris or transport equipment into damaged zones, where their durability and load capacity provided clear advantages over smaller trucks. What makes the XT feel truly overbuilt is its scale and intention. It is not simply a large pickup, it is a commercial platform disguised in pickup form. Everything from steering effort to braking force feels scaled for industrial use. rather than personal driving. It exists in a category where normal truck expectations no longer apply, and that is exactly why it stands out in this list. Number 1. Oshkosh M1070. M1070 is not a pickup truck, and it was never meant to be. It is a heavy equipment transport system designed to carry main battle tanks and other armored vehicles weighing tens of tons. The original M1070, designated the A0, is powered by a Detroit Diesel 8 V92TA, a 12.06-liter V8 two-stroke diesel engine producing 500 horsepower and approximately 1993 Newton-meters of torque at 1200 RPM. The upgraded M1070A1 replaced that engine with a Caterpillar C18 inline-6 diesel producing 700 horsepower, paired with an Allison 7-speed automatic transmission. The drivetrain, suspension, and frame are all built for continuous operation under extreme stress conditions, where failure is not an option. Every component is oversized, reinforced, and designed with military redundancy standards. Across an 8x8 all-wheel drive platform, the M1070 is actively used in military logistics operations, where armored vehicles need to be transported across long distances or redeployed in combat zones. Its primary role is not combat, it is mobility support for combat units. In real-world operations, it has been used to recover, transport, and reposition tanks, including the M1 Abrams, in both training and active deployment environments. Its ability to handle extreme payloads, up to 70 tons in off-road conditions, with the M1000 semi-trailer, makes it essential in modern military logistics chains. Without vehicles like the M1070, moving heavy armored units efficiently would be significantly more difficult and time-consuming. The M1070 represents the peak of over-engineering in this entire list because it exists in a category beyond civilian or commercial vehicles entirely. It is not optimized for comfort, efficiency, or public roads. It is optimized for moving extreme weight in battlefield conditions. Everything about it is designed to prevent failure under maximum stress. That is why it feels so extreme. It was never designed for normal use at all. And that's the reality of these machines built not just for work, but for extremes that most vehicles will never face. From rugged early workhorses to military-grade giants, every truck in this list proves one thing. Engineers kept pushing until enough was no longer enough. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the most overbuilt trucks ever created, make sure to like the video, subscribe for more documentaries like this, and comment on which truck surprised you the most, because in the world of engineering, the limits are always being tested.